With only his homemade phrase book to help him, Two Flower was trying to explain the mysteries of inn sewer ants to Broadman. The fat innkeeper was listening intently, his little black eyes glittering. From the corner end of the table, Imor watched with mild amusement, occasionally feeding one of his ravens with scraps from his plate. Beside him, Whittle paced up and down. "You fret too much," said Imor, without taking his eyes from the two men opposite him. "I can feel it, Strand. Who would dare to attack us here? And the gutter wizard will come. He's too much of a coward not to. And he'll try to bargain, and we shall have him. And the gold, and the chest." Whittle's one eye glared, and he smacked a fist into the palm of his black gloved hand. "Who would have thought there was so much sapient pearwood in the hole of the disc?" he said. "How could we have known?" "You fret too much, Stratton. I'm sure you could do better this time," said Imor pleasantly. The lieutenant snorted in disgust and strode off around the room to bully his men. Imor carried on watching the tourist. It was strange, but the little man didn't seem to realize the seriousness of his position. Imor had on several occasions seen him look around the room with an expression of deep satisfaction. He had also been talking for ages to Broadman, and Imor had seen a piece of paper change hands, and Broadman had given the foreigner some coins. It was strange. When Broadman got up and waddled past Imor's chair, the thief master's arm shot out like a steel spring and grabbed the fat man by his apron. "What was that all about, friend?" said Imor quietly. "No, nothing, Imor. Just private business like." "There are no secrets between friends, Broadman." "Yeah, well, I'm not sure about it myself, really. It's a sort of bet, see?" said the innkeeper nervously. "In sewer ants, it's called. It's like a bet that the broken drum won't get burned down." Imor held the man's gaze until Broadman twitched in fear and embarrassment. Then the thief master laughed. "This worm-eaten old tinderpile," he said. "The man must be mad." "Yes, but mad with money. He says now he's got the... can't remember the word. Begins with a P. It's what you might call the stake money. The people he works for in the Agatean Empire will pay up if the broken drum burns down. Not that I hope it does. Burn down. The broken drum. I mean, it's like a home to me, is the drum. Not entirely stupid, are you?" said Imor, and pushed the innkeeper away. The door slammed back on its hinges and thudded into the wall. "Hey, that's my door!" screamed Broadman. Then he realized who was standing at the top of the steps and dived behind a table. A mere shaving of time before a short black dart spread across the room and thunked into the woodwork. Imor moved his hand carefully and poured out another flagon of beer. "Won't you join me, Zlorf?" he said levelly. "And put that sword away, Strand. Zlorf Flannelfoot is our friend." The president of the Assassin's Guild spun his short blowgun dexterously and slotted it into its holster in one smooth moment. "Strand!" said Imor. The black-clad thief hissed and sheathed his sword, but he kept his hand on the hilt and his eyes on the assassin. That wasn't easy. Promotion in the Assassin's Guild was by competitive examination, the practical being the most important. Indeed, the only part. Thus, Lorf's broad, honest face was a well of scar tissue, the result of many a close encounter. It probably hadn't been all that good-looking in any case. It was said that Zlorf had chosen a profession in which dark hoods, cloaks, and nocturnal prowlings figured largely, because there was a day-fearing, trollish streak in his parentage. People who said this in earshot of Zlorf tended to carry their ears home in their hats. He strolled down the stairs, followed by a number of assassins. When he was directly in front of Imor, he said, "I've come for the terrorists." "Is it any of your business, Lorf?" "Yes." "Grinjo, Ermond, take him." Two of the assassins stepped forward. Then Stren was in front of them, his sword appearing to materialize an inch from their throats without having to pass through the intervening air. "Possibly I could only kill one of you," he murmured, "but I suggest you ask yourselves, which one?" "Look up, Zlorf," said Imor. A row of yellow, baleful eyes looked down from the darkness among the rafters. "One step more and you'll leave here with fewer eyeballs than you came with," said the thief master. "So sit down and have a drink, Zlorf. Let's talk about this sensibly. I thought we had an agreement. You don't rob, I don't kill. Not for payment, that is," he added after a pause. Zlorf took the proffered beer. "So," he said, "I'll kill him. Then you rob him. See that funny-looking one over there?" "Yes." Zlorf stared at Two-Flower, who grinned at him. He shrugged. He seldom wasted time wondering why people wanted other people dead. It was just a living. "Who is your client, may I ask?" said Imor. Zlorf held up a hand. "Please," he protested. "Professional etiquette." "Of course. By the way." "Yes?" "I believe I have a couple of guards outside." "Had." "And some others in the doorway across the street." "Formerly." "And two bowmen on the roof." A flicker of doubt passed across Zlorf's face, like the last shaft of sunlight over a badly plowed field. The door flew open, badly damaging the assassin who was standing beside it. "Stop doing that!" shrieked Broadman from under his table. Zlorf and Imor stared up at the figure on the threshold. It was short, fat, and richly dressed. Very richly dressed. There were a number of tall, big shapes looming behind it. Very big, threatening shapes. "Who's that?" said Zlorf. "I know him," said Imor. "His name's Rurf. He runs the Groan and Platter Tavern down by Brass Bridge. Stren, remove him." Rurf held up a beringed hand. Strenwithel hesitated halfway to the door as several very large trolls ducked under the doorway and stood on either side of the fat man, blinking in the light. Muscles the size of melons bulged in forearms like flour sacks. Each troll held a double-headed axe between thumb and forefinger. Broadman erupted from cover, his face suffused with rage. "Out!" he screamed. "Get those trolls out of here!" No one moved. The room was suddenly quiet. Broadman looked around quickly. It began to dawn on him just what he had said, and to whom. A whimper escaped from his lips, glad to be free. He reached the doorway to his cellars just as one of the trolls, with a lazy flick of one ham-sized hand, sent his axe whirling across the room. The slam of the door and its subsequent splitting as the axe hit it emerged into one sound. "Bloody hell!" exclaimed Broadman. "What do you want?" said Imor. "I am here on behalf of the Guild of Merchants and Traders," said Rurf evenly, "to protect our interests, you might say, meaning the little man." Imor wrinkled his brows. "I'm sorry," he said. "I thought I heard you say the Guild of Merchants." "And Traders," agreed Rurf. Behind him now, in addition to more trolls, were several humans that Imor vaguely recognized. He had seen them, maybe, behind counters and bars. Shadowy figures, usually, easily ignored, easily forgotten. At the back of his mind, a bad feeling began to grow. He thought about how it might be to say, a fox confronted with an angry sheep. a sheep, moreover, that could afford to employ wolves. "How long has this guild been in existence, may I ask?" he said. "Since this afternoon," said Rurf. "I'm Vice Guildmaster in charge of tourism, you know." "What is this tourism of which you speak?" Uh, we are not quite sure," said Rurf. An old bearded man poked his head over the guildmaster's shoulder and cackled, "Speaking on behalf of the wine cellars of Morpork, tourism means business, see?" "Well," said Imor coldly. "Well," said Rurf, "we're protecting our interests, like I said."
"Thieves out! Thieves out!" cackled the elderly companion.
Several others took up the chant. Zlorf grinned.
"And assassins!"
chanted the old man. Zlorf growled.
"Stands to reason," said Rurf. "People robbing and murdering all over the place. What sort of impression are visitors going to take away? You come all the way to see our fine city with its many points of historical and civic interest, also many quaint customs, and you wake up dead in some back alley, or as it might be, floating down the Yank. How are you going to tell all your friends what a great time you're having? Let's face it, you've got to move with the times."
Zlorf and Imor met each other's gaze.
"We have we?"
said Imor.
"Then let us move, brother,"
agreed Zlorf. In one movement he brought his blowgun to his mouth and sent a dart hissing towards the nearest troll. It spun around, hurling its axe, which whirred over the assassin's head and buried itself in a luckless thief behind him. Rurf ducked, allowing a troll behind him to raise its huge iron crossbow and fire a spear-length quarrel into the nearest assassin. That was the start.